If your offer sounds just like everybody else, then you'll be treated like everybody else. You're going to be overworked, undervalued, and mostly ignored. What I'm going to work with you here today is I'm going to introduce to you the 1-5-2 method. The 1-5-2 method is what I use with tech consultants to create the irresistible offer that makes them stand out from the crowd. In my 30-year career in the tech industry, I've worked in lots of different disciplines within a business, from technical to sales to marketing to pricing strategy, offer strategy, as well as leadership. With that experience, I have launched hundreds and hundreds of offers to the market, to all corners of the world. By doing so, I've helped thousands of tech businesses with their business. What I'm going to do is take all that experience and use the 1-5-2 method to show you how you can create your high value offer. So in this video, you will learn exactly how you can structure an offer that positions you as the obvious choice, as an authority, even if you haven't actually sold anything before. Yeah, so we walk through this 1-5-2 method. It's simple, strategic, and built for people that hate to fall. So let's dive in. I do want to explain why it's so important to talk about your offer and your high value offer. One of my clients, just to explain, had an offer that is low value. And the low value offer really meant that it was disconnected from what he wanted to achieve with his consulting business. For example, if you wanted to earn $100,000 or £100,000 and his average monthly income for one client was $10, then you need lots of customers in order to get to your goals. The mental shift that you need to make is that you create an offer that is high in value, unique, and means that you don't require hundreds of thousands of customers. That's exactly what we did with Alex. He went from $10 or £10 a month per client to 500 and 1,000 pounds a month per client. It just simply means you don't need as many clients, and it also means that the operational side of your business becomes a lot more straightforward. Okay, now let's get started with the first step. Yeah, so the first step is the customer. So identify one customer. And the whole idea here is that we want to get very targeted at who you want to sell to. Who is your ideal customer? Maybe it's a vertical industry. Maybe it's a size company in a certain geography. Maybe it's a use case. Or maybe you're trying to sell, as an example, if you're into endpoint management and you want to do it securely, you can maybe target law firms, right? So there's a difference between positioning yourself as, oh, I can do endpoint management or device management, or, for example, you want to provide an offer to law firms to manage their devices and endpoints. And the IT director or head of IT has problems with the data integrity and onboarding, offboarding of staff and things like that. So instead of going to the market saying, oh, I can do device management for any business, you can say something like, I help law firms manage their devices for new employees and employees that are leaving the business without any hassle while maintaining data integrity. When you kind of position it that way, it automatically becomes much more narrow. And that's really what we're looking for. And when you position yourself that way, or when you have an ad that kind of conveys that kind of message, then it means you will be ignored maybe by 95% of the people that see that message. And that's perfectly fine. The 5% that do identify themselves as a law firm, or maybe a mid-sized law firm, small law firm, doesn't really matter, then they will stop scrolling and have a look at your message. right? And then from there on, you can build your value proposition, because ultimately the goal is to get your customers to respond first and then build out from there. Okay. Now, by doing this kind of positioning, it helps you position yourself. So it's good for yourself as well as the people that you're targeting. You're being very clear. Okay. And obviously, when I say mid-sized businesses or mid-sized law firms, I tend to not focus a little too much on that, just because there are a lot of businesses and don't identify themselves as small or medium or large in that kind of way. Okay. So that's really the first step as part of the 152 method. Now, if you want to have a little cheat sheet version or a PDF, I've put together a PDF where you can download some of this, and so you can sketch out your own kind of value proposition and your focus areas for your business. The link is in the description below, so please grab it down. Okay. Fantastic. So let's move on to step number 2. Now, step number 2 is referring to the 5, right? So 5, and this is for me about doing competitive research on 5 key players. So once you have clarity on who your ideal customer is, let's look at who they're currently buying from, and learn what they do. What is their go-to-market? What's their strategy? What products do they have? What solutions do they have? What are their high-level strengths or maybe weaknesses? You can glean this kind of information from their website, or by all means, use tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI tools to help you with this. Okay. But the key here is to look at your competition to see what they are doing. At the same time, also try to understand what they're not doing. Once you've done this bit of analysis, now it becomes time to kind of plot yourself against that as well. So where do you see yourself fitting? And by the way, when you select your competitors, I recommend to select maybe 2 large businesses, 1 to 2 medium-sized competitors, and maybe 1 to 2 smaller or boutique businesses or solopreneurs that you can find on LinkedIn or wherever they may be. Okay. So you have a nice sort of breadth of competitors to look at, because everybody has a little sort of strengths and weaknesses and uniqueness, if you will. You would like to think, correct? The one thing I do know is that you don't necessarily want to be the same as your competition, right? Because if you're the same as the competition, then it means you're not differentiating yourself. And I have actually done a longer video on this. It's called the reverse benchmarking video. And that goes into a lot more detail on how you can actually figure out where are your strengths versus your competition, and how you can find areas where you can build your strengths. So you become different than your competitors and not the same. If you're the same as the competition, then the only real differentiator you're going to have is price. And that's not what we want. We don't want you to be the cheapest. We want you to be the one that provides the best value for the customer that you are targeting. Okay? So that is step number 2, competitors, right? So identify 5 of them and do some analysis on your strengths, their strengths, and how you move forward from that. Okay. Step number 3 is positioning. So create 2 positioning offers, if you will, levers, positioning levers or offers. And with that, you don't need to have 10 different kinds of products or services or offers in order to address your customers. You only need 2, maybe sometimes 3, because you don't really want to overwhelm people, your ideal clients. You can simply look something at a light version and a full-fat version. Yeah, so the light version is really something that customers can go with to test the waters, if you will. And then they have a full-fat version, right? So you could do, as an example, on using the example of device management, you could do it as simple advisory session plus a bit of consulting for $995 or something like that. Or you can do a much more in-depth analysis and implementation program for 4 weeks within a business, and that becomes $5,000, give or take, right? So the pricing is all determined by the value that you offer as part of your offer in your package. But that's the way to think about it. And by having these 2 offers, you're creating an anchor point, if you will, for your clients or prospective clients, so you can think, okay, even if I don't go with a big one, I still have some good value from the light offer. And once you've done the light offer, you can upsell yourself into the full fat offer or a bespoke engagement after that. And at that point of time, you've had the opportunity to work with your clients, and then you can build trust, you can demonstrate your value, and then you can build on from there. Now, when we talk about these offers, we often have like names like light and full fat, really names. Often it's called something like a essential package and a pro package, or elite package and a pro and a enterprise package, or something like that, right? If there's 3 different packages. So get a little bit creative, but the naming is not as relevant. The main thing that we need to do is to come up with 2 offers, maybe 3, but come up with 2 positioning levers that you can put out there with your customers so that they can anchor on one of them. So great stuff. So we went through the 1-5-2 methods, right? So to quickly summarize, it's one client that you want to focus on. You look at 5 different competitors to see what they're doing and not doing, which is very important, right? So you can build your unique value proposition around that. And I have a more detailed video on that also in the link below, or maybe around this video. And then the third step is the 2 value offers, the positioning leaders, if you will, that helps you position yourself in the market. So if you found this helpful, then please check out some of the other videos I have, and you get more of this kind of content. And I'd love for you to reach out to me, comment below, or subscribe. Then it'll all help with building the channel, and can be in a position to create much more of this kind of valuable content for you, which is people in tech that want to start their own business or launch their own consulting business or tech business or service business, and need a bit of help. Okay, fantastic. I'll see you next time.